Dear students, have a good day to all of you. Today, we all have gathered here with our second video launched by Argentum YouTube channel. If you can remember, in first video, we discussed about a basic chemistry part by using a past paper question. Today, we are starting another question by using past papers. So, now February month is already over, right? So check how many months are remaining, how many days are remaining before your O-level examination. Very little limited days you have. So within these few days, how can you manage it with a sustainable manner? You have to see these things very well, right? So hope all of you will join with us and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this video with your friends, right? Now let's start our next question. So take the past paper book, take another book or some papers with you, and you can do the questions with me. And if you have done these questions already, you can check the answers and also essential theories as well, right? Let's start our today's video. Okay, well, right now this is the question we are going to starting today. 2016 O-level paper, part B, 5th question, right? So I selected this question because of some special reasons. One is, children, we can cover a lot of theory parts and we can refresh our memory with lots of theories we have already discussed through this question. That's what the main reason I have taken this question. Other thing is the pattern, the way we can write the answers for questions correct manner. Those things also we can identify through that question. Right, now take out the question. 2016 paper. First question, this one. I hope all of you will have the question, right? Okay. Now, children, the question is asked mainly a specific way. Now, see here, average masses of macronutrients present in a biscuit of a particular brand are given in the following table, right? So, that is given the macronutrients respectively here. Proteins, mass 0.81, carbohydrates 5.67 grams, and fat 1.55. Now, children, now I want to tell you something. The major weaknesses we have seen from the students, once they have seen the question, they are frightened. Why? My goodness, macronutrients, decimal numbers are given, proteins are, then what happens? Finally, the question is blasted because very little questions, very easy questions are mentioned inside the question, but once they see the beginning of the question, they got frightened, right? So don't be like that, right? That's what you are asked to read the instructions very well of this question, right? After having the instructions very well, you can have the correct answers for this question, right? So children, what is the first question you are asked here? What are the elements present in proteins? Can you remember when you were in grade 10, the first lesson you studied about chemical basis of life? Children, do you know that lesson is the most important lesson I have categorized in grade 10? Why? Lots of questions, wherever the paper, right? Inside the paper, maybe structured essay, maybe MCQs as well, right? Questions are, they are mainly the points, the key points, right? So you have to remember those things very well, right? Right, okay. Now you have to read with me, you have to remember with me the things that you have studied already. Biomolecules. There are 4 major biomolecules in the world, right? What are they? Carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Those are known as major biomolecules, right? Carbohydrates. There are 3 major elements in carbohydrates. Do you know what are they? Carbohydrates. What are the elements inside carbohydrates? Carbohydrates, there are 3 major elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? Our students know the correct way, the strategy, the trick to remember this. What? CHO. Pronunciation is what? CHO, right? My students know how to identify this very clearly. CHO, 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 right? So don't write CHO like without the commas here. We have to separate it by using capital letters since you are mentioning here what? Elements. Okay, well, carbohydrates, CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. What's the second one? Second one is proteins. Second one is proteins. What are the elements inside proteins? Children, these 3 elements are compulsory. right? Except with this, what are the other elements? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen is included. I am putting sulfur within brackets. Why? I told you, in some proteins sulfur is included. In some, not every proteins. That's what I put here, sulfur within brackets. So how can we pronounce the trick? Chons, chons, right? C-H-O-N-S. Remember, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen are compulsory elements in every proteins, but sulfur is included in some proteins, right? You have to remember that in your mind, right? Proteins, C-H-O-N-S, right? What else? What are the other elements you should remember? Say next one, lipids, lipids, right? Lipids. It's better when I am doing this with you, if you can remember these things, right? Because you studied those things before 2 years ago around, right? So in your mind, these things should be stored very well, right? Lipids. What are the elements in lipids? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Children, I have a problem. I have a question to ask from you. You saw here in carbohydrates also carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. In lipids also carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That is impossible. Why? You know already carbohydrates and lipids are not similar, no, not equal. Now, if you consider about the food enriched with carbohydrates, what are the things? Potatoes, rice, bread, those things, no. What are the food types include with lipids? Cheese, butter, right? Oil, those things, no. So, definitely you know, right? Those are not equal with carbohydrates. Then, how this should be happen? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen elements in carbohydrates and also lipids. How can we distinguish these two? Children, remember, right? That should be also included in your mind. Carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Lipids also carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. But this oxygen percentage in lipids, that is less than carbohydrates. That is the difference, right? Oxygen percentage is less in lipids than carbohydrates. Okay, well, next one, nucleic acids. Nucleic acids. What are the elements? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. What are the examples for nucleic acids? DNA and RNA. Do you know where we can identify DNA? Inside our body, our major genetic material is known as DNA, right? And all the other animals, bacteria, right? And lots of viruses, it consists DNA, but some viruses, those are known as retroviruses. HIV, right? Now coronavirus is also known as a retrovirus, right? For some viruses inside their body, RNA is present. Otherwise, all contains DNA, right? So DNA and RNA is actually what? The examples for nucleic acids, right? So what are the elements in nucleic acids? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. What are tricks we found? Carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Proteins, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. Then lipids, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Nucleic acid, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. Cho, chons, cho, chonp, right? That's the trick, right? So if you can remember very quickly once you see the answer, once you see the question, right? If you can remember very well, right? Then you are good, right? So that is the thing we these days, right? Without seeing all the notes, without seeing all the questions, right? You have to be familiar with the answers very well with little examples like this. Understand? Well, right. Now let's shift to the question. You asked about the elements of proteins. How can we tell here? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. But it's better if you can write a sentence. Not all proteins, sulfur is not included, right? Well, now let's see the next question. Right. In the next question, you asked about when a person consumes a biscuit of the above brand, in which part of the digestive system does its digestion starts, right? You know, children, right? Our mouth is the starting point of our digestive system, right? So when we take a food inside our mouth, what happens? We are biting that food, right? You know, when we are biting that food, our saliva inside our mouth is mixed with that food, right? So our saliva has a special what enzyme called amylase, right? You know it, amylase. So by using that amylase, what happens? Now if we have taken a starch food, it is separated to, or it is divided to maltose. You know, starch is a polysaccharide, maltose disaccharide. So it is consuming and it is becoming simple materials, right? That's the thing. And also it is passing from our relevant parts in digestive system, and finally that started to digest here, right? Proteins, carbohydrates and fats. Children, I have a question to ask from you. Among these proteins, carbohydrates and fats, which one is digested first? 4 seconds is given. 4 seconds are given. 4, 3, 2, 1. What is the answer? Which one is started? Which one is digested first? What? Proteins? No. Fats? No, I told you. Carbohydrates. That's what I told you. The carbohydrate, the starch inside the biscuit, right? Our saliva. What? Amylase is included inside our saliva in our mouth, right? So that is used and it is separated to maltose, right? When a person consumes a biscuit of the above brand, in which part of the digestive system does start its digestion? Start where? Mouth, inside our mouth. Which macronutrient it starts? What? Carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates. Children, do you know inside our digestive system where proteins are started to be digested? In our stomach, right? Fats in our intestine, short intestine, small intestine, right? Okay, now remember these things very well with the help of hormones, not hormones, enzymes, right? When a person consumes, right? So what is the answer right now? Answer should be mouth. Name the enzyme that is added to food in the part started in A above, and state the nutrient on which that enzyme acts, right? What's the question again? Let's read. Name the enzyme that is added to food in the part stated in A above, and state the nutrient on which that enzyme acts. So when that is coming down, it is finally formed to where? Stomach, right? So inside the stomach, right, a special enzyme is secreted. A special enzyme is synthesized. What is that? Pepsin. What is that, children? Pepsin. Pepsin. An enzyme called pepsin, right? Then that is formed with our food, that is collected, that is coming with our food. Then what happens? The inside proteins started to be digested. So what is the answer? You are given the answer. State the nutrient. What's the nutrient? Proteins. What is the enzyme? Pepsin. State 2 substances that are mainly added to this food in the stomach. What is the answer for this question? You asked about state 2 substances. Underline the word substances. State 2 substances that are mainly added to this food in the stomach. Right. Now children, you know the gastric juice, right? Gastric juice. So gastric juice is already secreted when a food comes inside our stomach, inside to our stomach, right? Do you know what are the things inside the gastric juice? Mainly 3 things are included. One is saliva, not the saliva or something like inside our mouth, right? Likewise, the type of it that is included. What's the other one? HCl, that is known as dilute HCl, right? Dilute HCl. So if the concentrated HCl inside our stomach, what happens? My goodness, everything will be burnt. Why? The concentrated one is very harmful to our body right now, no? So that's what answer should be, dilute HCl, right? And next one is what? Enzymes, right? Enzymes, right? So that's the thing, right? So state the 2 substances that are mainly added to this food in the stomach. You can tell here, right? The major one is dilute hydrochloric acid. Don't write hydrochloric acid. Marks are not given, right? Answer should be dilute hydrochloric acid. Why we are mentioning here dilute hydrochloric? Other one is there concentrated hydrochloric. Can it be used? Can it be secreted from our stomach? No. It is diluted, right? So dilute hydrochloric acid, and other one is the enzyme. What is the major enzyme inside there? Pepsin. Right. So all are included in where? Gastric juice. We call it as gastric juice. So gastric juice is secreted inside our stomach, right? When a food comes to that stomach, right? For sometimes actually that's a now that is connected with our system of our nervous system, right? Sometimes now when we are biting chewing gums, right? So no food is coming to the stomach, no. So in that time, our stomach is thinking now food is trying to enter inside there. So they are releasing gastric juice, but no food inside there. So sometimes when the amount of hydrochloric acid is increased, the gastric juice, sometimes the layers inside our stomach may be damaged, and sometimes that may be very painful. So that is one reason for having gastritis, it. And also skipping, avoiding food, that is also another reason for gastritis. And today the scientists have identified that mental stress is also a case for gastritis, right? So those are diseases associated with digestive system, right? So that's the answer for this question. Well, next one. In which part of the digestive system is the digestion of the food completed? Children, please take the pencil or pen and underline here the digestion of this food completed. That means, children, once the digestion is completed, is there any other digestion processes happen there? No, that's what it is mentioned clearly. Digestive process is completed. Do you know, children, where the final digestion starts? The final digestion starts in where? Children, that part is what? Small intestine. Small intestine. Where there are two intestines inside our body, large intestine and small intestine. Actually, large intestine is not doing a lot of things inside our digestive system, right? That is mainly absorbing water, and also waste materials are product. Don't misunderstand. That is not excreted material, right? So those things through our anus, that is released. For those things are done by large intestine, but in our short intestine, right, mainly they are fully absorbing fat, right? So when fat is divided, when fat is absorbed, it is becoming fatty acid and glycerol, right? The building unit of fat is fatty acid and glycerol, right? So children, remember, now actually when we are having that food, we are having the greater type of the food, no, not the simple food. Now if it's consider carbohydrate, means we are mainly having starch. So starch is a polysaccharide. The largest molecule is polysaccharide, starch. So inside our body, that should be divided, and after absorbing it, it should be converted to monosaccharide, the simple molecule, right? So finally that is absorbed to our body, right? So that is also done by our small intestine. There are some villi inside there throughout that is absorbed to the blood circulatory system and for the nutrients of the blood plasma, right? And proteins, proteins are made with amino acid molecules. So children, proteins also should be absorbed finally, and that should be divided until amino acids. So that final amino acids are absorbed through the blood, to the blood, right? And here also same thing, fatty, right? Fat also should be absorbed gradually, and that should be taken inside to blood, right? So those all things are happen inside where? Inside small intestine, right? So children, after these small intestine performances, no digestion process is happened inside our body, because this is the final. Well, next question. you are asked about the end products of the digestive system. Children, can you remember I told you something, what I told you? I told you we are having food as large materials, no? Actually, those are complicated. So, those cannot be absorbed very quickly inside to our digestive system. That's what those should be what? Absorbed, and those should be converted to little materials, simple materials, right? So after being converted all to simple materials, those are absorbed to our blood, right? So that is used as our major energy resources inside our body. Understand? Right. So carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are finally converted to monosaccharides, no? Carbohydrates are finally converted to monosaccharides, right? Actually, what is the example? Glucose, right? Glucose. So children, finally carbohydrates are absorbed and converted to glucose. Then villi are, inside the small intestine, villis are there. That means the microscopic, something like finger shaped parts inside there, right? So those have blood capillaries and little blood vessels very well. So throughout that, this glucose is absorbed to our blood, right? So this is the first answer, right? This is the actual answer, glucose, right? So I have mentioned here to refresh your memory. Carbohydrates are finally converted to monosaccharides and it is becoming glucose as well, right? Second one. Now, if you can remember the building units of each biomolecules, you can have all the correct answers for this, right? Next one, proteins, right? When the building unit of the protein is what? Amino acid molecule, right? So here also same here, the proteins are converted, absorbed, and finally it is becoming to what? Amino acid molecules. You can say here amino acids, right? That's the answer, amino acid molecules, right? So after amino acids, can it be divided again? No. After glucose, can it be divided again? No. This is the final simple material, right? After that, it cannot be divided again. Understand? That's the next answer. Proteins are converted to amino acids, right? What else? We discussed about carbohydrates, right? We discussed about proteins. And next one here, can we take nucleic acids here? Are you mad? We can't take nucleic acid, right? So we are discussing about nutrients here, right? So next nutrient that is given inside the biscuit, what? Carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. Children, lipids are special. Why? My students know it. Actually, what? Now, carbohydrates, the building unit only one, monosaccharide or glucose. Proteins, only one, amino acids. But can we identify only one building unit of lipids? No, there are two building units. So once it is absorbed inside our digestive system and that is converted to two final building units until it is being digested. What is the answer? Lipids are converted to fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol, right? These are the two final products coming from lipids and that is digested in small intestine, right? Okay, so that is the answer, right? Now did you check the answers, children? See the answers. You are asked about the materials, the substances at the end, right? Isn't that so? You asked about state the end products. These are the answers, right? One adaptation of human digestive system for efficient absorption of the end products of digestive system. I told you inside the small intestine there are something like fingering shape, like this, right? What are these? These are known as villi, right? So we can tell only one answer, presence of villi, right? Children, on the in these villi, another little, now actually villi, these all are microscopic, not visible inside to naked eye. That is known as microvilli, right? So both answers can be accepted, villi, presence of villi or presence of microvilli, right? So both answers can be accepted, right? So children, these are the things you need to identify regarding human digestive system, right? Okay. So children, I'll give another question to refer for you. Now this is 2016 question, no? If you can take the 2019 question also. In the first question was based on 2019 2020, right? See here, 2020 question. That one is also was also based on human digestive system. So actually, if you consider about your examination, we can't accept a long question, a big question regarding human digestive system. But I took this question for you, especially mainly MCQs and also structured essays. Those parts may be based with that one, right? Understand? Okay. So that is the answer, right? Okay. Right. Okay, well, that is the answer. So you can refer that question part as well, right? Okay, children. So if you have any questions regarding this, you can put a comment, and also we can discuss that part as well, right? So that is the end of today's program. I asked you to do the 2020 question also, right? Why actually 2020 question? You are given a figure of human digestive system part, right? So that's what it is very important for you, right? Once you see the question, you can understand, right? The Q is the liver. Now take the 2020 question quickly, right? Now you are asked to name Q, P and R, right? What is the Q? What is Q? Liver. P, stomach. R, pancreas, right? So name the parts labeled P, Q and R, right? So those things should be mentioned, right? Describe briefly how food is subjected to mechanical digestion in P. You know, children, the protein part started to be digested inside stomach with the help of pepsin enzyme, but remember that is partially digested, not fully, right? So until amino acids, that is not digested inside stomach. You know those theories, right? So that is known as mechanical digestion with the help of enzymes. You know, gastric juice is secreted inside the stomach. So those things you can identify. And also children, a good part is there in B question, mainly with excretory system also, right? So that part also you can have, right? So children, remember, now still if now I asked you to do the past papers, no? Children, doing past papers means not like this. What? You see the question and you turn the answer sheet side and you just see the question and see the answer sheet and you are just copying and pasting. Children, nothing is going to your mind if you do that regularly. No, don't do that, right? The way you should do the past papers means actually just keep away the answer sheet. You can take it later, right? Try to now just think about, you are given normally 20 minutes for this question, right? Take the question and try to write the answers alone without any help. At least don't have a look with your textbooks as well. Try to write the answer alone. No worries, sometimes you can write answer only the first question. You are not aware other all answers. No, don't worry, right? Just write the answer well with the first question or the any question you know. You are alone, you can write the answer, right? Then children, after that, take the textbook first and quickly turn the lesson. Now this lesson is, you know, once you see the question, you can understand at once what is the lesson based on here. Human digestive system, grade 11 book, 6th lesson. Just quickly turn the book, turn the pages, and you can come across the lesson, right? And take turn the place where the question based on, right? So you are given a labeled diagram, labeled figure of human digestive system in your textbook. Take it and check whether your answers are correct. And also all the answers for this question are included inside the textbook. Don't see the answer sheet at once. Then try to find the answers from the textbook and write the answers by using red pen, right? Then after that, after being completed the question, then what happens? Then take the answer sheet and check your answers, right? Then if some additional things to be written inside the near with the answers, just write it. That is the way of your the student in your age who is studying, right? That's the method, not copying and pasting, right? you are cheating by yourself if you are doing like that again and again, right? So think about that. I hope you will do like that. Okay, so that is the end of today's video, right? So we are planning to give you videos, right, once a week. So keep in touch, subscribe our channel and share this with your friends, right? So next week we will be conducting inheritance lesson questions, right? Actually that one is also very important, inheritance lesson question, right? So now here, if we considered this question at the end of this part also, inheritance part was there, right? Some students are not much familiar with inheritance, but no worries, very easy, right? So we are not focusing all the part in inheritance, just the essential parts which is needed only for O-level part as well, right? Okay, so have a nice day for all of you, and please work hard. Very limited days, very little days are remaining for you, right? If you harvest well, if you grow well, right, if you apply seeds well, you can have a good harvest. If you work hard, you can have a good result. If you are not working hard, right, again your result will be reduced and deducted. You can decide, it's up to you. You can decide whether you're having good result or not. However, I wish you all the best to have a good results of all the students who are doing O-level examination in this May. Have a nice day for all of you. Bye. See you all.